All right, so Art of War versus RDO. And RedDiablo, of course, at this point are playing purely fight. Art of War are playing to have even a hope of staying in the tournament. And they've got the Kremlin. Interestingly, RDO have brought 3 Moskvas and the Smolensk to the fight. So there's a lot of radar on this one. I would not want to be in either the Shimakaze or the Daring under present circumstances. Of course, I just get an exploding Hashidate, so what do I know? Boom. Alright, let's go see what TAW are up to. And I suspect we're going to see a sudden attack of caution from their destroyers until we know exactly where all the super cruisers have got to. It's going to get messy for them if they get caught by those 12-kilometer radars after all. On the other hand, lots of radar, not so much in the way of rapid-fire Dakar. And you kind of need the combo of both to make it work. But Daring plus Shimakaze, well, we've seen a lot of variety in destroyers. About the only destroyer we haven't seen at all is the Hoverosk. And I wonder if that's simply because the high speed, high visibility, and long range to mid range gunnery method doesn't work so well in a tournament situation. That also is the question where things are going to go for the Kleber in King of the Sea 10. Because, of course, at the moment, Kleber is on the banned list. She wasn't introduced before 088, and consequently is not permitted. That could get interesting. In the meantime, however, both destroyers have initially started a run for point B. However, the Kakalak has actually dug in ever so slightly here. He's got his engine boost going, but he's slowed down just for a second, perhaps waiting to see what was going on, maybe watching the timing. Meanwhile, Electric Fire has been content just to carefully run his turn into point B, start the cap. You'll notice he's skirting the border. He's in a position to make a high-speed break if he runs into a radar cruiser, which he might, because Sleep 31 is in radar range and could very well light the entirety of point B up at this stage. We're seeing some early exchanges of fire, just the usual random shots of opportunity at the moment. The shot callers aren't necessarily dialing in specific targets. This is just fire as you bear, fire as you've got a target, and electric fire. There we go. He's had to force out of point B, which probably means at this point that Sleep blew his radar and force electric to go evasive and break contact. He's looping back in, of course. Moscow radar is Russian, plenty of range, but not too much duration. However, he also caught Kakalak in the course of that engagement, and Kakalak has had to both dump smoke to evade the Daring coming up and also break away himself. So we're seeing shot calls onto the point Moscow that's blockading B effectively. Nobody is really moving for C at the moment, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, well, the Northern team is being quite content to just sit back and watch the fireworks and provide long-range support as they go, which is a little unusual. You'd expect Tilquin's Kremlin in particular to be getting a lot more aggressive and face first, but Electric Fire not quite making the torpedo beats there, eats one on the stern, takes a flood, has to blow his damage control. Luckily, I don't think that was a Shimakaze's torpedo, or there might not be quite so much left of his boat. As it is, he lost 9,000 and he's gluing the boat back together as fast as he can. Vilsithun is in position to provide some supporting radar, but that's a Salem, not a Des Moines. The coverage isn't what it could be. He's got point B capped, however, so Electrify has achieved his initial mission objective and put TAW on the initial lead path. They're going to start racking up those points slowly but surely. Jimbido, however, coming around the flank, he might be able to provide the muscle needed to support a cap and a shove through the flank from point A. However, he's got the Smolensk for rapid Dakar. He's up against a Zao and a Shimakaze, so it could get messy. The Smolensk is probably in point A at this point of capping. We haven't seen the Daring, of course, so Lord knows where he's got to. And there's the Shimakaze, Furax 29360 being forced out of control point C and having to bolt for cover. If he committed much deeper than that, he would have been in trouble once both the Moskva and the Stalingrad blew their radars. Interesting there that somebody fired AP at the Shimakaze, possibly just had the wrong ammo round in the breach. We'll hopefully see some rapid correction there. And Shimakaze breaks for the hills. Right, capture going on in point B. So, are we going to see radar coming off the Zielflin? Because somebody's running around. Yep, there we go. There's the radar, and there's the daring Erd F3 getting caught out in point B. But I don't think many people have got a line of fire to him. Electric fire can get rounds out, of course, and there we go. There's the initial spoiling shots coming down. Gets a couple of early hits, and that adrenaline rush means he can start to lay down a fairly rapid salvo of disruption fire, but it's all high explosive. And unfortunately, in order to make that work, electric fire has had to unmask his position and is now taking return fire from a Moskva. And that's high explosive loaded, so he was lucky to get away with just the few hundred he took there. However, while the Zielflin's radar has expired and the daring might have been forced out of point B, Rob G29 is most definitely in it. The cap is blocked and swinging no matter what. And the Zielflin does not have a line of fire. However, Dark Nimbus does. Rounds come down onto Rob G. He takes a significant hit, but it's not enough to reset the cap. And all of a sudden, it's TAW who are being pushed on the control side. However, they are 50,000 health ahead, even if the points are even. So far, however, well, nobody's really exploding, although the Psycho tank is in serious trouble in his Moskva. Maybe just over-pushed it a little there, and he's doing what he can to push out, but well, he seems to have broken contact, and actually, beach party? I don't know, we might be about to see an impromptu Russian beach party. Yep, beach party for the Psycho tank. Under fire, although luckily nobody really seems to have the range on him yet, so he's got a little bit of time to get himself hauled off before that Yamato reloads and decides, oh look, target practice. So, pushing forwards, 15 torpedoes in the water from the Shimakaze. Those are more by way of suppression and disruption than anything else, and in fact didn't achieve all that much anyway. Tilquin is now Baron in the Kremlin, and he's hit his blocking position. I wonder if he's going to take shots out towards Penabed, who is much closer but behind an island. Instead, note he's going for Sleep 31. And that does not accomplish all that much, to be honest. The Moskva's deck soaking the majority of the fire. Of course, in order to be Baron and soaking the Kremlin, he's got to be broadside on to an angry sailor, who is throwing some limited caliber armor piercing at him. 8-inch rounds coming down, still going a smidge high, but it's doing semi-reliable damage. And since he's got the solution, well, oh dear. There goes Rob G. The Yamato just ploughing through the armor with the Stalingrad of Zarg supporting. So that is now 1 kill apiece. And the points are still fairly even, although with 2 control points to the 1, it is still currently advantaged to RedDiablo. Remember, TAW have got to win this emphatically in order to make any chance of surviving to the group stages of the tournament. And at the moment, they're not really doing that. Daring again, swapping rounds, but the high explosive on the Daring doesn't seem to be hitting with all that much authority. Electric fire seems to be having trouble doing much more than scratch damage to his targets. That said, he's using the rapid fire of the Daring's 4.5-inch guns to do what he can. It's just, well, they're not exactly the world's biggest guns. I think it's either 4 or 4.5 inches. So the high explosive has this worrying tendency to just bounce or shatter or not do very much at all unless you bother to invest in IFHE. He's got torpedoes running, however, so Jimbadao will... I don't know, he might clear that track. Then again, he might not. Or he's just going for torpedo beats. There's the turn back. There's a bit of a gap in the center of the salvo. Is he going to find it? No, I think he's actually overcooked the rudder. Looks like 1 on the nose. Donk. And the second one scrapes past the hull. He was a little bit tight on the rudder there. The torpedo beats almost worked, but ultimately there will be no horning these days, since it's just forced him to deploy his damcon And there's an angry Zhao in guns range, and we all know what happens when a Zhao decides you're gonna burn. Spoiler, you will eventually start burning. However, another Moskva goes down, so with Sleep 31 also out of the position, that kind of starts freeing the northern side of the map up. Veerzathun pushes in, takes the control point B back for TAW, and Jinbidao at this point is a little bit overexposed, and yes, he had a Zhao shooting at him. He is on fire again, and we know his damn con is accounted for. Electric Fire's looking for a fire himself, just trying to get that superstructure burning. Dark Nimbus is the one really doing the damage, however, with the Yamato's armor piercing. More torpedoes out from Electric Fire, although to be honest at this point, I think that's probably coup de grace. So, 2 control points up. The Kremlin is starting to shove forwards. Tilquin deciding clearly that right now he has had enough of Penabed's blocking fun and games. Dark Nimbus puts down Jinbibo in the Republique, although that was a question of time with that second fire burning. And it's Yamato on Kremlin once again. Although it might change quite rapidly, because Penabed has in fact had to go right the way forwards into point B to try to disrupt that, and consequently is in front of the guns of a Stalingrad at what is possibly a bit more than critical angle. So it's just a question of how fast Tsar can reload, really. He's backing up slightly, but he's only got 6,000 health left. Dark Nimbus dealt a solid hammering there. Rounds come in from Zarg, and yep, gave too much broadside there. And there goes point B. So, for a valiant start, RedDiablo are starting to go to pieces. And, solid smack there from Tilquin into the Yamato. But Tilquin's had to show too much broadside. Not that it matters. He got a main battery hit in and finished the job. And this is TAW's experience starting to tell, I think. They've got one Moskva just off hunting down the last of the Shimakaze. Although with only 3,500 health left, the Shimakaze could make a gunfight of it if he was that way inclined. Of course, the Shimakaze doesn't know that, and, well, there's not a lot left of the Shimakaze. So, who wants to get the first salvo, boys? Because that's not going to take very long to sort out. 58 seconds left, and really, well, it's going to be messy. All that's left is Spartacus in the Des Moines. Frantes, 64 this relents, and in fact the Shimakaze gets spotted diving right behind the island, trying to get out of the way, and he's going to be able to play Ring Around the Rosie there for the moment, but not if he doesn't turn to port fast. He's got to keep that island between himself and Psycho. Psycho just needs one shot, and then again, he doesn't. The Des Moines goes down, and that is game.